All right, good afternoon, traders. It's April 7th, 2026. My name, Coach Carignan, lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to all my visitors that showed up. Hope you made money. If you didn't make money, shoot me a you know what? Put a pound sign in there in the chat if you didn't make money, because I want to help you. All right? If you made money, put a dollar sign in there. If there's anybody here, just put something in there. I'd like to know if somebody's listening. Alan made some money. CP, Gene. Anybody else? Anybody else listening? Steve got some money. All right. Love it. Rick's listening. All right, so I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, Digiland, Cyberland. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and following my content. Thank you to all my paying subscribers. You guys help keep the lights on. I don't take that for granted. I try to provide actionable content every single day. Thank you so much for being here. So, big shout out, Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, Ed Carter, Rick Sadler, everybody that shares the BYOB content, helping get the good word out there to the World Wide Web. We want to help everybody. All right, let's take a look at the market, how I captured 2350, 31K account. Let's take a look at the markets this morning. Let's see what I had in mind. So let's move this out of the way. Let's turn on some drawing tools, and let's take a look at the market. Okay, so if you were here this morning, I showed you this picture. All right? If you don't know what this picture is, this is the picture of easy money. All right? If you were in the room and you were paying attention, okay, I must have spelled it out 2 or 3 times. This is the picture of easy money. Notice, easy money is commencing with the ADMA and the VWAP separating the mouth, all right, between the ADMA, all right, and the VWAP line is beginning to open wider and wider and wider. That is the easy money signal. That is the easy money clue. That is the one. That is what you wait all day for, is that setup right there. Okay, I said it yesterday. I said it today. Everybody in the BYOB room knows it. This is what to look for. This is what we want. This is where we trade. This is where we make bank. This is where we make goals. This is where we make multiple goals. All right? This is it. That's the picture. That's what it looks like in the beginning. All right? And then if you take this away, here you go. See the mouth getting wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. Let me tell you, it doesn't get any better than this. Okay? I spell it out. I show it to you. This is it. This is what we're looking for. I point it out. Hey, this is what we want. All right? We want that ADMA over the VWAP, and this is what we're looking for. Okay? So there you go. There it is. That's the picture of easy money. Okay? Easy, easy, easy money. Doesn't get any easier than that. Wait all day for that. So this morning, what did I write for this morning? What do we got here? Let me see what I wrote. And that's not it. And I don't have it up here fresh, but I'm pretty sure I said I wanted to go after resistance. Okay? So I'm pretty sure I wanted to go. This is probably it. Okay, plan to wait and trade. A continuation of yesterday's closing, 10-minute uptrend up to 661.60. which is identified resistance, okay? We didn't quite make it, all right? But we got the gap fill. I'm going to say this. In the pre-market, we opened up much lower than I thought we were going to open up, okay? So I was looking for that 10-minute uptrend. So we had, here's a 10-minute uptrend. We traded that. And then we traded this one right here. Okay, we were looking for 661.60. Price is struggling here at 659.50. Okay, we've did a triple top yesterday. We never left the area. All right, we never left the campground. All right, and then we pulled back last night, and then we rallied up first thing in the morning, and then we made a higher low, and we rallied up again up to do the gap fill that was never had all day long till the end of the day. Okay, so the bulls obviously are looking for something up here, and it's higher than 659.50. There is resistance at 661.60. I don't know if there'll be any resistance left because we seem to be getting it all right here at 659.50. So I think it's going to shoot right through 661.60, and it's probably going to go up to around 665. I think price wants to go for the all-time high anchored VWAP. And where is that? Let's take a look at where it is on this chart. Okay, so currently it's this thick pink line. It currently resides right about 673. Okay, so it's about $13 away. It's very doable in one day. All right, but they don't seem to want to leave the area until they tag something. I don't know what it is, but I think that's what it is. All right, now if they climb on top and consolidate, that's a different story. Okay, that means we might not roll over. We might, if we consolidate up here 2-3 days, okay, there's a good chance we run up here and start messing with the highs. All right, converting downtrends into uptrends. Right now, you got an inverse bullish head and shoulders pattern showing. This being the head, left shoulder, right shoulder, right there. Okay, notice when price got down to the bottom of the upper third, the bulls came in and did a rescue program. All right, a rescue operation. Right there when we got into the bottom part of the upper third. And that's what I call bullish. All right, and there's a reason for that. Is because if the bulls are going to step in, that's where it's going to be, and they did step in. And I was mentioning that a couple times in the room. So let's talk about the close, and then we'll take some questions here. 10-minute uptrend going into the close. You got daylight between the 3 and the 8. 2-hour uptrend going into the close. Thank you to all of you that responded. All of you that responded here, I want to wish you all congratulations. I hope I played a big part of it. Thank you for posting that. Appreciate that. And if there's anybody out there that didn't make their goal, put a pound sign in there because I want to help you. All right? There's SPY, 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Daily chart, higher outside day, okay? Got a lower low and a higher high. We closed over a bullish trap. We closed over a flat 17 EMA. We closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. We closed in the bottom of quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, anytime it's in the upper third, that's bullish. We're still in a downtrend. We have not made any higher highs yet. This will be the third candle holding this area. This is interesting. I got to tell you, I almost think that they have the scope crosshairs right on this, all right? And if they get on top of that, it's a different story. If they go up and spike it, they could roll over back down to this way. We'll see what happens. Okay, so there's SPY on the daily chart. We're bullish, but still in a downtrend. On the weekly chart, again, bullish, because we're in the upper third. Here's the origin of the move, April. But we're still in a downtrend till we make a higher high. And of course, the monthly chart's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. All right, on Qs, start with a 10-minute. 10-minute uptrend coming into the close. 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Got the sticks and the 3 riding up over the 8. Daily chart. High for yesterday, 590.61. High for today, 589.90. Okay, so lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap and over the flat 17, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP, closing under this uptrend line, closing in the bottom of quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, but still in a downtrend. We have not made higher highs yet on QQQ. Weekly chart, still bearish. We have not made higher highs. No, still bullish, but still in a downtrend. Okay, I meant downtrend. Still in a downtrend because we have not made higher highs. Still bullish because we're in the upper third. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Back to the daily chart, you can see here's the origin of our rally back here in April. Up and over. Okay, still hanging on to that upper third. Same thing with SPY. Okay, origin of the rally back here in April. Up and over. Still hanging out up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. So there's SPY on the daily chart. Let's take a look at IWM on the daily chart. Okay, now I said if they got a higher high, they negate the downtrend. Okay, so the high there is 253.07. The high for today, 253.48. Okay, so they just canceled the downtrend and converted the uptrend because they made a higher high right here. Okay, you got a valley, a peak, a valley, and a peak with a higher high. So that's an uptrend now for IWM. So IWM, bottom of quadrant 4, that's bullish, and now in an uptrend. You know, maybe this gets contagious. We'll find out. All right, so there's IWM closing in the upper third or in quadrant 4, says bullish under the all-time high anchored VWAP in an uptrend. Okay, again, the origin of the rally starts back here in April, and we're all the way up here. So bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow, no higher highs yet, okay? As compared to the day before, we got an outside day. It's a lower low and a higher high. We closed over a bullish trap. We closed over the flat 17 EMA. We closed under the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, we closed in the upper third. All right, we're no longer in the neutral zone down here. We're in the upper third. We're bullish, but we're still in a downtrend till we start making a higher high. There's the high to beat, unless, of course, they produce a lower high in the near future. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Bullish, but still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at Stinker. Move this out of the way. Price action here, outside day. Higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17. Okay, no longer in the lower third. Okay, so this is neutral, but still in a downtrend. They have not made higher highs. Neutral, still in a downtrend. Okay, this is the all-time high for Stinker. This is the all-time low for Stinker. This is the all-time high anchored VWAP. You can still see we're underneath the midpoint, half court, 50-yard line, and we're still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so we're neutral, but let me just say this. We're just barely neutral, all right? Just barely, all right? So that's stinker on the daily chart. Let's take a look at some tech. Let's take a look at precious metals. We'll start off with silver. Silver price action for today is lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, neutral, still in a downtrend. Let's take a look at gold. Gold got an outside day, higher high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap, over the flat 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP in the bottom of quadrant 4. So that's bullish, not making any higher highs yet. So we're still in a downtrend for gold. Okay, let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO put in a new 10-year high. All right, so if something puts in a new 10-year high, it's hard to do it without being bullish and in an uptrend. This pink line is the four-year high anchored VWAP. The last time we made a high was back in post-COVID rally right there. So you can see here's the origin of the move back here in 2023. And that is our new 10-year high right up there. That's USO on the daily chart. Like I said, obviously it's hard to make a new 10-year high without being bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, it can be done, but it's not easy. All right, let's take a look at UNG. UNG got an outside day. It's a higher high. It's a lower low. We're closed inside the bearish trap, closing underneath a falling 17, closing underneath a 12-month high anchored VWAP. Okay, a 12-month high. Okay, not a 12-year high, just a 12-month high anchored VWAP. We're in the middle of quadrant 1. That makes us bearish. That right there, that low valley on the screen, that is the all-time low for UNG. We have not made higher highs, so we're bearish and in a downtrend on UNG. Okay, so price rallied up today. Let's go take a look at participation. We'll look at that on T2101. Again, we got bullish, all right, and we have an increase in participation. That's a good sign. If you're a bull, if you're a perma bull, that's a great sign. T2122. Well, we fell out of the bot zone over bot zone, buy zone over bot zone, and we meandered down here into the chop zone. We made a couple of appearances up here in the buy zone. All in all, between the buy zone and the buyer's chop zone, look, we stayed out of the seller's chop zone. We stayed out of the sell zone. We stayed out of the oversold zone. That is a good day right there, T2122. Not to mention, we closed the day almost knocking on the door of the buy zone one more time. Okay, so that's bullish for me. Anytime we're up over the midpoint, all right, on the other side of the 50-yard line or on the other side of midfield, okay, that's bullish for me. T2122. T2123. Nice day for T2123. Okay, this is a 15-minute chart of the T2123. That is the all-time high. I'm going to put the quad lines in. You can see we're still down here in quadrant 1. Okay, that's bearish. Okay, from the all-time high down here, it's bearish down in quadrant 1. Okay, we're on the north side of the falling 200 SMA. That's a bullish sign right there. That's nice. If I was a bull, I would be very pleased with that. I would just like to see them hold that. All right, and for today, it looks like they inked out, well, let's look at this. We've got a high. That's definitely a higher high. That's definitely a higher high. There's a low, but it didn't take out this low. So we've got an uptrend on the 15-minute chart, T2123. And we're on the other side of the falling 200 SMA. The bad news is we're all the way down here in quadrant 1. All right, but the good news is we're not melting down anymore. We're actually melting up. All right, so that's bearish, but still in an uptrend. Okay, bearish, but still bearish because it's in quadrant 1. Uptrend because it's continuing to make higher highs. So there's 15-minute chart. Bearish, but in an uptrend on T2123. Same product, but the 3-bar chart. Okay, I'm going to take this out of here. Going to zoom way out. There's the high for 2024. That's the all-time high. Pull back. Now here's the origin of our rally. Back here in April, we run up and we make, a new all-time high for 2025. Pull back, make a higher low, rip, and make a new all-time high for 2026. We're still up here in quadrant 4, so that's bullish. We're on the bottom side of this rising 200 SMA. Not my favorite place to be unless I'm a bear. Currently, I kind of like being a bull, so I'm not pleased with that. But the good news is they're starting to put in some green ones over here, and that's some good news, okay? It's too bad they're not higher than these green ones over here. So we're still in a downtrend until we make some higher highs, okay? We're bullish, but we're still in a downtrend, all right, on T2123 3-bar chart. Okay, so who knows? Maybe they bounce off of minor support and rip and make another new all-time high. It might happen. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen fast enough, though. All right. If this scenario played out, okay, if let's say the war was over in the Middle East and high prices in energy were here to stay, I think all the CEOs and the CFOs and the COOs, okay, all right, would turn around and reprice their products, causing another round of inflation. And with that round of inflation, you could have seen a higher high. But I don't think there's enough time to get that done in 2026. Okay, it's just, that takes about a year to manifest, at least, if not 2. All right, so if that had happened, you could have seen another higher high. So we may be looking at another new all-time high based on energy. All right, maybe not in 2026, but maybe in the middle of 2027. So we'll see what happens, okay? There's T2123 3-bar chart. Let's take a look at Stinker on the 15. All right, Stinker on the 15. I got a low, got a higher low. Oh, another higher low right here. How about the highs? Got a high. Oh, that's a higher high. Oh, that's a higher high. So we're in an uptrend. That's great. We're on the north side of this falling 200. That's bullish. That's where I want to be. All right. We've made higher highs here, so we're in an uptrend. All right, but based on the quad lines, okay, all the way back here, we're still in the lower third. All right, so still a lot of work. So we're still bearish, but in an uptrend. We're underneath this falling all-time high anchored VWAP. We're underneath the midpoint. We're underneath midfield here, okay? So still a lot of work to be done for the 15-minute chart on FNGU, all right? So take this out of there. Let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index, see what they did for today. Okay, U.S. dollar index. Okay, this is the 2025 high, daily downtrend into a giant bear flag. Okay, we've been trying to break out of the north side of this bear flag. Failed here, failed here, failed here, failed here. And looking like we're failing here. Currently, we're kind of like grinding away at the supply up there. We're in an uptrend because we got lows, made a higher low, we got a high, and we made higher highs. So currently we're in a daily uptrend inside this giant bear flag. Okay, so this is consolidating underneath. All of this is major support. See all those valleys right there? that's consolidation, major support. All right, if you're above it, but if you're below it, it's minor resistance. So they're trying to break into this area, which was for, look, almost 2 years, it was major support. See that? 2023 to 2025. All right, so we're having a hard time getting back up in there. So there's the U.S. dollar index. Let's take a look at what we did today. Okay, today was nothing but a bunch of, I gotta tell you, like rescue operations for the indices. Okay, so I had puts. I had puts for the downtrend right there. And then I had a bull put spread that I traded into the close right here. That's a bull put spread. That would be the short side of the bull put spread. Okay, here's the other part of the put spread. That's a minus 1,566. And that's because we got a positive 1,518 along with the positive 600 right there. So that all was part of put spreads for today. All right, and I managed to ink out a little bit on the bull put spread on price rallying back up. On the call side, you can see I traded calls to go back up to the gap fill up here. Okay, notice we gapped down this morning and we never filled gap till the very end of the day right there. Okay, so I was looking for calls and we didn't get an uptrend till we got right here, and that was right at noon. Just when it looked like they were going to have a bearish trend day, they rallied back up over VWAP and consolidated up there, pulled back again, hit VWAP, and then bounced up in this area to peak out at the same highs we had yesterday twice. See, same thing. Day before once, and day before that once. Okay, so I traded calls to the upside, made 1,205 on these calls right here. Okay, selling into strength up there. Lost money on those calls right here. Made money on these calls right here, sold those into strength. And those were picked up. I'm going to just show you this. Okay, these were bought for, you can see here, like 3 cents a contract or 3 cents a share. Okay, and these were sold. You made a lot of money. You can see that. These were sold for 8 cents, 9 cents, 11 cents. Look at this. All right, 23 cents. 27 cents, 48 cents, 58 cents, 64 cents. So you can see they were sold for almost 2,000% all the way up there. Not all of them, but some of them up there. Reloaded and did it again. That's it for today. All right, so that's how I made my goals for today. All right, so the market was bullish, but it didn't show up till the end of the day when the bulls finally got their stuff together after this sell-off right here. So nice rally up. I think they're going for that all-time high anchored VWAP. If they get on top of it, that will be a great situation. We'll see what happens. All right, any questions? Any questions out there? Any of you new people got some questions? Anybody got questions? Remember I showed you the picture of money? All right. That's a picture of money. All right, right there is the picture of money. And then right here is the picture of money. Right there. Intel. I bought Intel today. In the $1 million account, Gene. All right, I posted it right up here. $1 million account, buying Intel shares. Okay, so if you want to see what I bought, I can go over to the $1 million account. All right, so I got 20,000 of the Intel. So I am currently up 7,000. 8,000. 7,000 based on that. And then I got one call that's doing pretty good. And I also picked up some AMC. All right, I picked up AMC right here today for the $1 million account. All right, because I saw this was bullish yesterday and I bought the pullback. So I got some AMC and I got some Intel. All right, I posted it up here. All right, posted it right in here, $1 million account. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, I said I posted up there. I think I said it. I don't know if it was you who asked or somebody else. I think it was Sharon. I'm not sure. All right. I want to see everybody tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Okay. All you new people, or visitors, I hope you come get a trial. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm biased. I love my room. I think it's the best place ever. I mean, you got, Eric's asking me, where do you think SPY's going to go from here? And I said, we're going to gap fill. All right. I even put it. Here it is. Possible gap fill by end of day right there. Okay. And you see where price went. All right. That dashed line, that's gap fill. Right there. Hey, that's pretty darn accurate. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty good. And what else did I say? Going up to 661.60. So we didn't hit it in the open market. Well, we can obviously see they want it in the aftermarket. Look at this. Grinding up there in the aftermarket. All right, traders. I'll see you in the morning. All right, 8 o'clock. Thank you for hanging out with me. Everybody have a beautiful evening. All right, thank you.